Welcome to our Thursday edition of the show, Frontier Opening Bell. I'm Temple Ashaju. We've got only Bosin Omofaye, executive editor, here on the show this morning. Bosin Omofaye, thanks a great deal for joining us on the program. Markets right now, the indices of the markets that we track, will start with the Nigerian exchange, which is positive yesterday. We understand there was a major performance on a particular company there. Hopefully we get to understand that later. That pushed up the indices by some 18 basis points. BRVM Stock Exchange was down by some 62 basis points midweek. The Egyptian Stock Exchange at 10,000 psychological position, down rather by some 1.16%. Nairobi Stock Exchange was positive by 72 basis points. And of course, the Johannesburg Stock Exchange maintained the momentum that it had since the beginning of the week, up yesterday by 18 basis points. Let's look now at the Eastern African markets, where the IMF has offered $1 billion bailouts to Uganda. Of course, we understand that's the second to an African country in the last 4 days. Family Bank gets nods to raise new 8 billion shillings in via multi-currency. Total Kenya is paying first and final dividend of 1 shilling 57 cents by June, of course, 25th, when the AGM annual general meeting will be holding. KenGen begins digging first well for Ethiopia Electric Power Company. In Ethiopia, again, the country is going to be issuing another telecom license soon. Equity Bank Rwanda opens new retail branch, something that a lot of our customers will certainly be interested in. Bosin, let's hear your thoughts on this Eastern African headlines.
Yeah, if you permit me to look at Ethiopia, the licensing, the telco licensing will continue in a manner of speaking. Of course, we all knew that. $50 million or so was what Safaricom and the consortium, which includes Safaricom, I think Vodacom and Vodafone and the rest of them paid. MTN lost out on that. MTN, I think, offered about $620 million US. Now, I saw online in the news on the wire the last 1 or 2, 3 days that MTN is still very keen on bidding. So this second round or so, I'm sure MTN will definitely clinch something. They are not going to let go, in a manner of speaking. They are not going to leave that corridor for Safaricom to make a killing. So to that extent, I expect that they would MTN will get his second round. We appreciate the IMF coming through with DRC 1.5, then Uganda $2 billion. Let's see how it all pans out in terms of how this money is used to reposition the economy under the new AFCFTA, supports the budget for the COVID-19 pandemic post-period and growth moving forward. We'll get a whole more details on this as we move on by the day. If you remember, Kenya is also to get about another about $700 million or so from the multilateral agencies as well. Over the last couple of weeks, we have been waiting to see that happen. For the energy space, total Kenya 1 shilling 57 is good news for the shareholders. I think they will take every shilling they have on the floor now and put it in their pockets. 20 times were hard in 2020. Total at least being able to pay something as an oil retailer. KenGen secured that deal with Ethiopia to drill for geothermal well a couple of months ago. I think now they are ready to start that multi-million-dollar project. It shows how one company in one country can actually work its way through to a neighboring country or so. We want to see that happen in West Africa as well. We want to see a Nigerian company, whether power, energy, whatever, doing business elsewhere. We're doing well in cement right now, production, but we can do a whole lot more better in a lot of other areas. We want to see similar thing happen in Nigeria moving forward as well. So good news there for KenGen. It shows the knowledge, the skill, the ability of this company to actually be a big name within the region, power and energy sector.
And to truly serve as a big brother in the region as well.
Oh,
Thank
yes.
you very much, Bosun. We move on now to the Western Africa and Nigerian markets, where the Nigeria Investment Promotion Commission publishes 2016 to 2021 financial summary. Airtel Africa sells tower portfolio in Tanzania. Conoe profits rises 62.8% to 423.9 million naira in the first quarter of 2021. NASCON allied 40 kobo per share dividend for 2020 fiscal year. FMDQ lists Union Bank of Nigeria Series 8 and Series 9 commercial paper on its platform. FAR Limited, Woodside to close Senegal's Sangoma sale soon. Aka Energy is to sell 50% stake in Ghana's deep water offshore block. Bosun, I'm sure it's not FAR Frontier Africa Reports that is closing that deal actually.
You know, the Aka Energy story is a little bit curious. Remember yesterday we got the news, or 2 days ago, on ExxonMobil exiting Ghana. I think we need to dig a little bit further. What's the issue here? If ExxonMobil is exiting deep water operations in Ghana, then Aka Energy is selling 50% of its stake also in Ghana deep water. Is there a problem in the deep water in Ghana oil industry? I think we'll find out over the next days or so, or weeks, about what is really going on down there, because ExxonMobil is a big name. We all know that. We don't need to talk about that. Aka Energy is also another name. So if these oil firms or energy firms are departing or selling down in Ghana, we need to find out exactly a little bit more facts behind the figures, as the saying goes. Corn oil first quarter came in better than its full year, which is Nigerian a big retailer. I think that is good news for corn oil. That's the Q1 came just about a few days after their full year numbers. Airtel Africa will be selling the towers in Tanzania. Where that came into was because we have Airtel Africa listed on the Nigerian bourse. They've been operations in about 14, 15 African countries. It's all about if you can sell that business to someone else to operate, take the $1 million, whatever it is, in cash, put it, improve your own cash flow, and that's it. You saw MTN also sell some things like that to Helios Towers and the rest, spin that off a little bit. Now, some of these telcos I want to spin off their mobile money as well and all of that. So the whole business is about get lean, get nimble, be more efficient, be more productive, be more revenue generating. And I think that is just that, by the way. I was enthused by the NIPC, which is the Investment Promotion reporting of its operating surplus, payment to the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the federal government, and of course this IGR over the last few years. We got the first, what you call, this is the first time in 5 years that Yewande Sediku has been there, that this financial statement has been published. It clarifies a whole lot of folks who are talking about how has NIPC been spending its internally generated revenue. So far, in 6 years or 5 years, they've made 2016 to 2021, first quarter, they've made about 11.61 billion naira. And they showed us yesterday, the whole payment receipts into the consolidated account from 2016 to 2021. All the receipts were published, local, with all the signature treasury receipts. I love that. We need to see more of such transparency and in reporting, financial reporting by government agencies. You remember NIPC started reporting monthly just about a year or 2 or 3 ago. That was also welcome, at least as a step forward. We would like to see revenue agencies, key ones like FIRS, for example, the customs, for example, NAFDAC, the rest of them, publish their consolidated accounts. And that would just be a good step forward for disclosure and for accountability. That much I can say. Thank you, Temple.
Thank you very much, Bosun. Thanks a great deal. Southern African headlines, where Africa's central banks are likely to hold rates till the third quarter of 2022, says Standard Bank. Bailout completes sale of its motor retail business for 1 billion rand. That's in South Africa. The Botswana Stock Exchange introduces new members rules with effect from July the 1st of 2021. Zimplo Manufacturing 2020 earnings, you've got revenue rising by more than 17%. Profit after tax also surging close to by close to 50% there. In Zimbabwe, prices jump as government stops business pricing in US dollars. Awesome.
Well, the Standard Bank story, if I take that very first, was that what Standard Bank in South Africa released was that the current spate of central bank monetary policies leaving interest rate unchanged will continue till well into next year, because they want to see the stability of the whole fiscal stimulus and all those injections, whatever, debt restructuring, blah, 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 that had happened from 2020 to date. But we saw an outlier, a differentiation in Ghana 3 days ago when Ghana cut interest rate from 14.5 to 13.5%. That looks like an exception to the rule here. But overall speaking, what Standard Bank believes is that all central banks will leave interest rates unchanged. Zimbabwe, it looks like inflation may be heading back up, you know, because the authorities are trying to ring fence the new foreign exchange market, the new Zimbabwean dollar. So a couple of folks in businesses and shops and retailers, whatever, in Zimbabwe started pricing goods in US dollars instead of Zimbabwean dollars. So the authorities are now clamping down on everybody and saying, look, you must price all your goods, your services, everything in Zimbabwean dollar and not the United States dollar or the greenback or the Benjamin, as the case may be. So that, again, is now moving folks to say, look, if we can't price it in US dollars, we might as well raise the prices. So prices are going up. And what that means is that inflation will start rearing its ugly head. With the entire work that has been done so far by the finance minister, Tulin Dube, so far, there's going to be a nonsense of it. Let's see how this thing moves forward. But the notice is out right now that prices are going up in Zimbabwe because the government want to keep a tight lead on the FX market, the new exchange rates. The market seems to be working. Stability, some measure of stability seems to be coming through. But now, let's see how the central bank and the Ministry of Finance in Zimbabwe handle this particular one. Botswana's new rules for members. Look, you all know this. You're in the market as myself, Temple, for over the years. The exchange, every exchange always change the rules, as it were, for members. When they see some things happening or they sense or they sniff around that some things could be wrong or some new folks are coming to the market, looking at the market behavior of all the market professionals, they change the rules, rejig the rules a little bit to make sure that that's part of the oversight that you expect from any securities exchange. Make sure investors, depositors' monies, everybody's safe.
Thank you very much, Boss. In Northern African markets headlines, where the Agric Bank of Egypt's loan book hit some 46.37 billion Egyptian pounds in the month of April. Fowry Board OK's capital hike by 400 million Egyptian pounds. Wadi Degla plans to issue some 2.2 billion Egyptian pounds to Cook in July. Morocco auto exports was up by 62.6% in 4 months, and Morocco's remittances also rise more than 28.8 billion dirhams in the month of April. Bosin, help us to understand these Northern African corporate headlines before also.
Yeah, you can. I'm sure you can guess what my response will be. I'm sticking my nose into Morocco.
Oh, as always.
Yes, because again, look at it, Tempo. Look, give it to these guys. When I saw this news came through yesterday through the production team, and I just read through it, and I said, how can Morocco, in the first 4 months of this year, record an automobile exports of 62.6% in 4 months, January to April? Look, it shows that this is an industrialized economy. And where do these automobiles go? They go to Europe and elsewhere, right? So that tells you that, look, other countries such as Nigeria with a whole lot more going for it, you're supposed to be doing something of this nature. This is not auto imports, Tempo. This is what you call automobile exports. So, because if you look at their neighbor, Egypt as well, Egypt is doing these double-decker red buses and shipping them to London. And they started just a couple of years ago. Now, some of the buses you'll be riding in London, Tempo, in Kent, in red buses, you'll be surprised if you look under the engine, you find made in Egypt and not made in the UK or made in the United States. It could have also been made in Morocco. So that tells you that there's a whole lot that we can do industrialization. Look, if tourism is not coming in because of the pandemic or whatever, this is Morocco ramping up, using energy that they have to deliver automobile exports to Europe. So either way, they're generating effects. So they're not depending, they're not sitting down on crude oil or gas exports, whatever. They're delivering industrial products.
But let me quickly cut in, sorry. Do you think that really the gains of all of this industrialization is really trickling down to the masses? Because we know that Morocco in recent time has been hit with cases of migrants crossing in the Mediterranean Sea to into Spain in recent time.
Well, let's find out first whether those who are migrating are Moroccans or other Africans who are using Morocco as an exit point. So we need to distinguish that first, if they are Moroccans themselves, citizens, or they are those who are using Morocco. Because again, you know, there's been a whole lot of focus on Libya. Okay, so don't be surprised that this cartel and this syndicate that moves people across will have shifted to another country using it as a gateway, rather than the Moroccans themselves exiting. Morocco has a very good relationship with France. Look, it's not as if everybody is going to be rich. On the streets of US, China, Germany, whatever, you still find few folks sleeping by the roadside, eating from the dustbin and what have you. But again, overall speaking, Tempo, look, we have seen that you've seen a whole lot more industrialization and modernization in these frontier economies than bigger names like Nigeria, to be very frank. So let's give it to these guys a little bit. There will always be a few people, by the way, mind you, Tempo, whether they are Moroccans or so, who will still want to migrate across to Europe. And to a number extent, you and I have a fair idea where some of these things are happening. You look at governance, for example, the kind of level of rule of law and democracy that you have in Europe, in France, Spain, Germany, Italy, Brussels, whatever, you still don't have it across Africa in the manner of speaking, Temple. You understand what I'm saying? Okay. Then again, when you look at the local currency, again, in terms of exchange rate, you rather earn euro at the other side, okay, than earn the dirhams on this side of the Mediterranean. You know what I'm saying here. Yes. So and that speaks to the second story, which has to do with the remittances, which means that a whole lot of Moroccans are in Europe, okay, and part of them in the UK as well, some in the US, and they're sending remittances back home because those currencies are also still called in this climate hard currencies, where the rest of our is called soft currencies. So just step across the Mediterranean and you can tell about the exchange rate of €1 to a dirham, right? So if you're earning across the Mediterranean, where you could just wave to your neighbors and family and say, how are you over there? The exchange rate across the Mediterranean is huge. Yeah. So that is the flip side of the story about the automotive business, by the way. Yes, it benefits the economy and what have you, but then exchange rate, like you said, per capita income and things like that, we could do a whole lot more differently and much better in Africa, by the way. And I agree with you on that.
Thank you very much, Bosun Omofaye, Executive Editor and Chief Executive Officer here at Frontier Africa Reports. Really appreciate your presence on the show this morning and, of course, your analysis. Thank you so much. This has been the show for today. From Opening Bell, I'm Temple Ashaju. Together, we'll see you next time. Bye for now.